Hello, Mrs. Nelson. Welcome in our TV show. Today we are going to speak about Theodore Robert Bundy, the famous serial killer. He committed this crime during the 70s. It was a special period. There were a lot of riots all around the country and an increase in violent crime, murder, and rapes. All of this event caused a crisis of confidence. And in the middle of all this event appeared one of the most famous serial killers, Ted Bundy. You were his last attorney. Can you describe briefly who was Ted Bundy?
Hello, Mrs. Johnson. Thank you for inviting me today. Indeed, I was Ted Bundy's attorney just before he was executed. At that time, Ted Bundy was a young man. He studied at the University of Washington. He was graduated in psychology. He was a very intelligent person. During his studies, he met his first girlfriend, Diane. Thanks to her, he decided to become a politician. But when he was refused in all the prestigious universities because of his mediocre results, Diane left him. He felt rejected and wanted a revenge against her. I think all his crime began with this breakup.
So, you think that his breakup with his girlfriend caused his desire to kill young women? It means that every man who breaks up wants to kill women. It's easy excuse. I don't think that this minor event caused his behavior. Maybe he was just psychopath and that's why he committed these crimes. Don't you think?
I don't excuse his crimes because of his breakup. I just said this is one of the reasons why. He had a difficult childhood. He lived with his mom, Louise, and his grandparents. His grandfather was a violent man, as well physically as psychologically. Moreover, when he was 13, he discovered that he was an illegitimate child. I think that can explain why he had a dark side in him.
Now, speaking of violence, can you explain to our viewers the event was happened in Florida? There was a reason why he was arrested and went in jail. Tell us what happened during this horrible night in January 1978.
On January the 14th, 1978, two women were found dead in the Chi Omega's house, Lisa Levy and Margaret Broman. Karen Chandler was found injured in the house. The same night, Cheryl Thomas was found injured near of the Chi Omega's house. It was a shock in Florida, and Ted was the principal suspect.
You have just said that Ted Bundy was the principal suspect during these crimes, but he was judged guilty by the Supreme Court of Florida. It means that he wasn't just the principal suspect, he was the guilty. Don't you believe in his guilt?
I don't say that he wasn't guilty. At the beginning of the trial, he had several attorneys to defend him. However, he thought that they weren't capable of representing him, so he decided to defend it himself. But he had an insolent attitude and it wasn't in his favor.
Like you said, he had a bad attitude. I read that he had a weird behavior. Some people who knew him said that he was brilliant, sweet, and beautiful speaker. However, other people described him like a liar, a boastful, and he had a speech defect. How can you explain his attitude?
When I became his attorney, I asked for a psychiatric expertise. The psychiatrist of the University of Yale made a neurologic test on him. She found that he had bipolar disorder. In our country, mental ill person cannot be judged. So, he was judged guilty because he defended himself, even thought he was capable of doing it. In fact, the case should have to be retried, and the death penalty should have to be cancelled.
But this is not what happened. The jury in the Supreme Court of Florida sentenced him to death. At the same time, he was judged for missing of Kim Lake 12 in Orlando. There were a lot of evidence who accused him in this case. So why did you continue to defend him even if all the evidence were against him?
I understand your feeling, but we can't forget that he had a family, a wife, a daughter. It is difficult for them to hurt that and to be judged because of his acts.
Like you said, everyone was against him, as me. Everything was against him. A lot of bodies were found. Family can do their bereavement. He confessed the murder and the sexual assault of 36 young women in the 6 states of our country. Until now, he is suspecting of the missing of 100 women in the USA.
Indeed, he learned that the different police departments didn't share their informations between them. This is the reason why the police of the various states didn't immediately connect all these cases to each other.
I learned that he had worked a few months in the criminal department of the Washington police. During his jobs, he learned a lot of information who helped him for his crimes.
You know, I am against the death penalty since I was young. I don't think that someone deserves death. Even if it is the most Machiavellian person in the world, he stays inhuman, and none of humans deserve death. That's why I stayed his attorney until the end. He wasn't capable of defending himself, and everyone was against him. So he had the right to be supported by someone and to be defended for his life.
Personally, unlike a million of Americans, I was delighted with this. The day of his execution, it was like an elevation. It was a feeling that this monster couldn't brutalize women against.